Good morning, I'm David Tyler, the editor of The Messenger, and we're here today at the Baldwinsville Public Library with John Carvell, a World War II veteran. Mr. Carvell, where did you live when you were growing up?
I lived in Harrisville, New York. My parents run a hotel there, hotel business. I went to high school there and graduated there.
Any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have 3 brothers. Kenneth, Leonard, and Walter Jr.
Did they take part in the service also? Or?
My oldest brother was a Navy man, and I had my youngest brother was in the Air Force. Okay. After World War II, he was younger.
When were you? Were you enlisted or drafted, and at what time?
I was drafted in July 24th, 1942.
And what age were you when you went into the service?
21.
Okay. Why don't you talk about your experience in the service, starting with gunnery camp or boot camp and moving on up?
I was inducted in Utica, and I didn't go home. I went. I asked for Air Force there, and I went right from Utica down to Camp Upton, Long Island. I wasn't there too long either, about 4 hours, and I caught another train, and I went to Atlantic City, New Jersey, into the reception center there for Air Force for basic. I finished basic and went down to engineer school in Seymour Johnson Field in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And that was a school on it was aerial engineer school on A-20 Havoc aircraft, the old Boston they called them, twin-engine dive bomber. I finished there and went to gunnery training, Fort Myers, Florida, flew the old AT-6s. I was there at air firing, 30 caliber. I finished there, got my rating staff sergeant, and that was quite a jump, one rating. That was it. We went to Oklahoma City on A-20s. Did all of our crew training. Then we joined crews up there and did all our crew training. Transferred to Lake Charles, Louisiana for combat, low altitude combat bombing practice in the Gulf. And I went home on leave and came back and the outfit was gone. They moved everything out of there due to the heavy bombardment deal build up for heavy bombardment in Germany. They transferred me to Moses Lake, Washington on 17s. I never even seen one before. So I seen them crack up a couple of those and I said, well, this is not for me. They had a sign on the bulletin board there. They said, immediate combat service, Rapid City, South Dakota. And I says, I put my name on the top of the list. I'd been flying 13 months and I didn't like the looks of going through training again on those. So I went to Rapid City, joined a good crew. I went on emergency training for turrets in the 17. And they used me well. Their crew was a great crew, great crew. So I joined them. We went to Brooksville Air Base in Florida for some special training on a glide bomb. Left there, went up to Bangor, Maine, Bluey, West Greenland, Meaksfield, Iceland, into Scotland. And the first thing I knew was in England, down Station 107, Grafton, Underwood, Station 106. And that was where we started our combat tour.
Good. Why don't we discuss your war experience in as much detail as you feel comfortable? Any significant missions that you were on or other events that you felt were significant?
Yeah, of course, there was a lot of expectation of all of us for that first mission. I think this was one that stuck out in my mind. It wasn't a tough mission or nothing like that. It was just to get one in and, you know, get the feel of things, because that was a bad joint over there, I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. They figured if you flew 6, you were lucky. And at that time, we had to fly 25. But after we got that first mission in, the crew really settled in, you know. We had a lot of responsibility to each other to try to do the best job you can at your position. And we went on and went up very fast. We were flying lead in 7 missions. That's how many aircraft we were losing. And that helped us, because the farther up in the formation you were, the better off you were. So, and there was 2 missions that were real tough for us. And one was that infamous Schweinfurt. Aschersleben and Schweinfurt. Tough missions. Heavy flak, a lot of fire.
Why don't we?
John, go ahead.
There was a lot of fighter activity. I mean, the worst we'd ever seen it. We got shot up pretty bad in that mission. We had to join another crew, lost an engine. It was a dark day for the Air Force. We lost an awful lot of planes in that mission. But that one was the one that we survived. I figured that was the one that probably we had it, but we didn't. And I went on to, we got later in the missions, our pilot finished ahead of us, and we broke up into crews, other different pilots. And 2 of my buddies got killed with another crew. And 4 of them went down and were prisoners of war with another crew. I finished up with a Lieutenant Inman, a great fellow, great guy. He was I didn't really know him that long, you know. I flew 2 missions with him. 2 very violent missions. And I finished on Berlin, May 7th, 1944. They talk about, you see these guys getting out and kissing the ground. I got out and kissed the hard stand. The cement.
What were your specific duties on the plane?
I flew ball turret. If you ever see a picture of B-17 flying, you see that little cone ball. Good position, dangerous position for try to get out of it. But if everything was normal, it was a very efficient place to fly because it was warm, and you had a good view of everything. You see the bombs, boom, 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 you know, and all that stuff going on. And it was an important gun position because that was a very vulnerable area of the ship, like the nose was. And I enjoyed it because it was, you had such a view of the action of those bombs, you know, off those targets. It was really something to watch that. Really something to watch it. It's unexplainable unless somebody could really sit there and, you know, you can watch them fall and go out of the bomb bay and take them right down and watch them go. As long as there was no clouds, which happened a lot over there. But there was an awful lot of targets. We had good visibility. And that's was the job. It was knowing your position, know when to, you know, be awake. If you're under attack, you had to be awake. There was nothing you could do about the flak. Those shells that bust, you know, and the black smoke going right back around that turret. You didn't know where the shell was. But you just sit there and hope it didn't have your number on it. That's about the way it was.
After the war, what did you do?
I finished May 7th, 44, and I had immediate orders to go to another British base, Aylsham, a little town up in North England, north of London, 150 miles. And we trained some British crews on 17s, and they were going to use them with a big radar unit in the bombardier's compartment. They cleaned it out and put a big radar, and it sent out signals to screw up German radio on the invasion. See, I was through for the invasion even. And then I thought maybe I'd go home, and I didn't. I got orders to go up this combat school, which I had come through previously. It was a combat school on turrets only. And they sent me up there instructing, and I liked that. That was, I think I passed on a lot of knowledge to gunners that were coming in there that really weren't trained as well as they should be, I don't think. They had a big push on there, and there was a lot of the guys coming in that didn't have time to really learn their positions and learn their guns. And I think I really helped a lot of guys out there. How to dress even, you know. It was cold up there, 45 below zero. You know, you got 30,000 feet, you want to have some equipment on that was adequate and know how to dress and everything. So I think along the way I helped a lot of people right there on my experiences.
What were your first reactions of coming back to the States?
Well, when they gave me my orders to go home, I went to Liverpool, which is western coastal city. There was a big seaport, kind of like Atlantic City. They had a lot of parks and amusement stuff. And they asked me if I wanted to fly home or if I wanted to go by ship. And I says, well, I've never been on the ocean. And I probably would never get another chance, so I adapted to come home. I come home in the USS America. That was the old West Point. Nice, big ocean liner, you know. It wasn't a little, real nice, big ship. And I got back in Boston. We landed in Pier 5, the Fish Pier, Pier 5 there. And the first thing they did, they took us down, we had steak and milk. And that was my impression right there. Boy, I'm telling you, I really hit the spot. And I went on home by train, way up to Harrisville. Had to take a bus from Watertown. And had a very enjoyable 30 days at home.
Where did you go from there? What did you do for a career after the war?
Well, I went right back to Atlantic City for R&R. They checked your teeth and, you know, give you a good physical one all over you, see if you had all your marbles and everything. Psychiatrists, doctors, everything. And then they sent me to Nashville, Tennessee. And I went home to Phoenix and married my wife, Florence. Yeah. And then I went back to Nashville, and she came down the train. And we had a nice time together down there. It was paid vacation for her and me both. We didn't have to spend a lot of money on a honeymoon, you know. We had a nice time. She had to go back home. I got transferred west in Kentucky and then out to Fort George Wright, Washington. And I'll never forget this Dr. Black. He says to me, you want to go home or you like to go to the Pacific? I says, that first statement you made sounds good to me. So I opted to go home. And I was discharged in October 12th, 1945.
What have you done since that time, briefly?
Well, I got out of the service, come back. Florence and I had our firstborn, Jack, our firstborn boy. And I went to work in a little paper mill there in Phoenix, and there was a lot of them there at that time. They're gone now, but I worked for an old-timer there, old Irv Wood, very nice man. And he told me, he said, I told him I'm not going to stay with you, but he was very good to me. And then I got into the machinist trade. I worked 18 years down Seawright in Fulton. Then I accepted a job with the County of Onondaga. I got a lot of knowledge out of machine work, but my eyes are starting to bother me a little bit. And this opportunity looked good, and I was up there 18 years on state retirement, so I did all right. And that was a good place to work. I enjoyed it up there.
Where do you live right now?
9498 Pendergast Road, Phoenix, New York. It's an Onondaga County town of Lysander. It's on the west side of the river. And I built that house in 1958 with a lot of help from Uncle Sam because I had a certificate of eligibility on my service. 4% mortgage. That'll make people think about someday. We did very well. My wife and I did. One thing, we lost our oldest boy in '68, but we have a son, Bill, and his wife, Jacqueline. Nice people. And 2 great-grandchildren, Brian and Tanya. And they're Tanya's 12, Brian's 10. And I have a little outboard motor and lawnmower repair business that I run to home that I had for years. And I'm glad I got it now because it gives me something to do. I'm 74 and sure glad to still be here, you know.
We have some photos that John has brought along, and he's going to point out some of the things about the planes that he was on, other newspaper articles that he was featured in, or that his plane was featured in.
Yeah, here's one. This is a nice picture of the Fuddy Duddy. That's a local. It's a 17 that's been reestablished. You can grab that. That's been at the Fulton Air Show. And you can see this bomber was a 4-engine bomber. It had the top turret here, a ball turret down here. It had the pilot and co-pilot and engineer were up here. The engineer was your top turret gunner. It had 2 waist gunners, one on each side. And the radio operator had a gun that fired out of the top. Your bombardier and navigator were in the cluster in the nose. And they each had a handheld 50. They later put a chin turret on this because it was vulnerable in the nose. And it gave it two extra 50 caliber machine guns. And in the tail, they had a twin 50 turret in there, which was a hot spot to ride there because there was a lot of tail attacks, a lot of front end attacks. There was a long-range bomber. Our longest mission on that thing was 15 hours, so it could go a few miles, you know. Now here's a picture that at one time was secret. They wouldn't allow it. It's kind of hard to see here, but underneath that 17, you can see there are 2 glide bombs. These were 2,000-pound bombs that had a fuselage, mechanical fuselage on them with a gyro. You dropped them and it controlled it. And you could bomb from 60 miles away on a target, which made it, that was nice. You could stay out of the flak. But they never used that bomb much due to saturation bombing. They were afraid they'd kill a lot of people that weren't really active in the service, you know, killing kids and stuff. Now here's a nice article that was in the paper recently, I say a couple years ago, of my crew. And it shows the 17, and that was when we were first, before we went overseas. That's one of my favorite memories right there, those guys. You're on? I'm right here on the right. And this was Eddie Hill from Texas. He's the radio operator. And he was a prisoner of war. And this is Jess Pond, and he's also all right now. He's down in Mississippi, been sick lately, but he was a waist gunner. Tom Farrell was top turret engineer, and he just died 2 years ago. A great guy from Delaware. Red Karcher, he was from Allison Park, Pennsylvania. Real nice fellow, and he got killed. He was a tail gunner. And Norbert Karcher from Minnesota, real nice fellow. He was a right waist gunner, and he got killed. And this is our co-pilot, Ralph Alloway. He's in Kansas, and he's fine, doing well. Don Ackerson, he's down Pauling, New York, or Tappan, New York, rather. Our bombardier, a real nice guy. I neighbor a lot with this guy. He comes up, and I get out and visit him. Morris A. Buska, he was our pilot. He was from Maine. Marvelous pilot, and he got killed, but he got killed in the States after the war. He went into he bought a C-47, and he got killed flying it out in Washington State. And that was our navigator, Bob Hawk from Ironton, Ohio, and he just died a couple years ago. Great crew. And here's a picture here that was taken down in Kansas City when we were on a reunion, which we did every 2 years for quite a few years. All right? Dress, but you ready, Bob?
Right.
This is a picture that was taken the day after I finished, this was taken May 8th, 1944, in front of a new aircraft. That aircraft had just arrived. You can see there's no battle paint on it. It's all aluminum, beautiful ship. And that's the chin turret. You can see a good picture of it there. That was an addition to our old ship. And this isn't my combat garb, I'll tell you. I just put this stuff on just to take this picture. Your combat suits were much more bulkier and heated. You had a heated suit. But I just put that on so I look good in my finale. Right, Bob?
Well, thank you very much, John, for coming in and sharing some of your war memories with us.
Dave, it's a pleasure to do it, I'll tell you. I'm very glad to do it.
Well, our country is lucky to have patriots and soldiers like you.
Yeah.
Thank you.